Welcome back to the channel where small change makes a massive difference and ordinary coins reveal extraordinary stories, where we explore the hidden gems of American numismatics and reveal how the most unassuming coins can carry unimaginable value due to unique minting errors and rare circumstances. And today we are diving deep into the jaw-dropping case of the 1984 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that looks just like any other to the untrained eye, but has been valued at a staggering $198 million because of its extreme rarity, a convergence of minting anomalies, and its unique place in coin collecting history. And believe it or not, this copper-plated zinc penny minted at the Denver Mint has become one of the most iconic and sought-after era coins in the world due to a series of dramatic production mistakes that not only defy expectations but challenge the very quality control measures of the United States Mint. And while most people toss their spare pennies into jars without a second thought, this particular coin was destined for greatness, because what happened during its creation was a perfect storm of technological oversight, material mishaps, and die deterioration that transformed it into a once-in-a-century collectible that stirred up frenzy among seasoned collectors, numismatic experts, and high-end investors alike. And the most mind-blowing thing about it is that it only became known decades later when a sharp-eyed collector noticed an almost unnoticeable but crucial doubling on Lincoln's earlobe, a now famous double-die obverse anomaly that was just the tip of the iceberg, because further analysis of this exact coin revealed a breathtaking array of additional errors that compound its value to unprecedented levels, including misaligned dies resulting in off-center strikes, rotation shifts that skewed the orientation of the obverse and reverse, clash marks that indicate the dies struck each other without a planchette in between, die cracks stretching across the coin like fault lines from Lincoln's jacket all the way to the rim, a partially retained cud near the motto, "In God We Trust," that bulges upward due to a broken die piece, faint but noticeable lamination peels on both the obverse and reverse caused by contaminants or improperly alloyed blanks, a dramatic partial collar strike resulting in the unusual railroad rim appearance that's instantly recognizable among specialists, multiple strike-throughs from foreign materials being lodged between the dies and the planchette during striking that left behind ghostly impressions of fabric and thread-like residue, strange bubble texture in the fields around the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse due to zinc core corrosion beneath the copper plating, and even signs of hub doubling in the word Liberty that reveal a multi-stage hubbing error process, all of which were likely overlooked due to the sheer volume of coin production during the 1980s and the wear and tear on the dies that were used far beyond their prime. And when you combine all of these major and minor errors into a single coin, what you get is an astronomical rarity whose authenticity and condition have been verified by top grading agencies and authenticated with historical documentation that proves this coin not only survived multiple minting anomalies but emerged in such exceptional condition that its grade approaches MS68, nearly flawless despite the overwhelming number of production mistakes it embodies. And when collectors discovered the magnitude of these combined features, the market exploded with demand, with high-end investors bidding in private auctions to possess what has now been dubbed the Mona Lisa of Lincoln cents. And what makes the story even more captivating is the theories that swirl around how this coin could have come to be, with some numismatists speculating that a trainee or new press operator failed to replace the worn dies, or that a clogged or defective planchette feeder allowed damaged or contaminated blanks to be struck repeatedly, while others argue that this coin might have originated from a press calibration batch that was accidentally released into circulation instead of being destroyed. And to make things more complex, this 1984 D-cent also features a bizarrely strong strike for a coin showing so many die-related issues, leading experts to believe that it may have been struck with above-average pressure, causing certain design elements to appear sharper while amplifying the effects of other flaws. And even more fascinating is the subtle difference in the copper plating's tone compared to other 1984 D-cents, which may suggest a deviation in electroplating consistency or an experimental batch of blanks that were being tested during the production year. And while errors like doubled dies or strike-throughs are often found in isolation, finding them all present in a single coin of such high grade and historical interest makes this 1984 D-cent an absolute unicorn, an outlier that defies statistical probability and becomes a textbook example for students of minting history. and as this coin gained attention in collector circles, it was submitted for certification, where it received not only the highest known designation for a 1984 D-era coin but also the unique classification of a multi-era composite anomaly, a term reserved for coins that demonstrate layered and interconnected minting issues that affect both dies and planches, and the response from the coin community was swift and enthusiastic, with numerous publications running cover stories and major grading services producing detailed analysis reports of the coin's features, noting that the cumulative rarity of all its characteristics taken together approaches 1 in several billion. And because this coin is not just rare but unprecedented in the way its errors stack upon each other, it has become a legendary specimen that is referenced in academic papers, collector catalogs, and numismatic exhibits as a definitive case of minting chaos captured on a single planchet. And what further increases its mystique is the fact that while minor 1984 D-double die cents are relatively well known, no other specimen to date has exhibited this complete combination of issues, effectively making it a population 1 coin with no known peers, a factor that alone catapults its valuation to the top of the market, and unlike coins that are merely old or made from precious metals, this coin derives its immense value entirely from its errors, a testament to how failure in minting can produce the greatest treasures. And as news of the coin spread across the collector world, it made its way into high-profile numismatic exhibitions, where it drew crowds riveted by the thought that something as small and mundane as a penny could be worth more than a mansion, more than a private jet, more than most people's lifetime earnings. And while the coin was initially valued at several million, competition among elite collectors, museums, and hedge fund-backed investment groups drove the price higher at every private offering until it reached its current market valuation of $198 million, setting a world record not just for a penny, but for any era coin ever sold or appraised. And while the coin remains in a private collection today, its legacy has already cemented its place in history as a symbol of how imperfections, when stacked to the right magnitude, become masterpieces. And this 1984 D cent is no longer just a coin, it's a chronicle of everything that can go wrong in a mint and everything that can go right for a lucky collector who finds it. And now you know the story behind one of the most astonishing pieces of US coinage ever to circulate. So keep your eyes on your pocket change, because you never know if the next penny you find might be hiding a fortune of its own, filled with microscopic secrets and silent errors waiting to be discovered by someone like you who now knows exactly what to look for. Next, 1983 D1 cent USA coin. Where the smallest coins reveal the biggest stories, and where even a single cent can change everything. Because today we are diving into one of the most fascinating discoveries in the world of rare coin collecting. An unbelievable journey into the history, errors, and mystery behind the 1983 D Lincoln 1 cent coin. A penny that defies logic and expectation by becoming one of the most valuable coins ever recorded, now valued at an astonishing $87 million due to a shocking combination of minting mistakes, structural oddities, and production mysteries that make it stand apart in the vast sea of coinage produced by the United States Mint. And if you think a penny is just a penny, then prepare to have your mind blown by what lies beneath the surface of this legendary coin. Because unlike the countless others minted in Denver in 1983, this particular specimen exhibits such a rare and nearly impossible grouping of flaws that it has been dubbed by experts as one of the most spectacular minting errors ever discovered, a perfect storm of defects that include an extremely rare double die reverse, a die clash so pronounced that you can see ghost-like impressions of the obverse design on the reverse field, a severe off-center strike that shifted the entire design to the edge with visible missing elements and distorted spacing, as well as planchet anomalies like improper alloy mixing that created color shifts and texture inconsistencies not just visible under magnification but even to the naked eye, plus an improperly annealed planchet that failed to achieve its intended metallic balance, resulting in a soft, granular surface prone to flaking. And perhaps most shockingly, a partial brokerage error where the coin was struck against another blank, imprinting one side with a mirrored, incuse version of the other design, a highly desirable error in numismatic circles, especially when combined with other major defects like die cracks that snake from rim to center, forming lightning bolt-like patterns across Lincoln's face and jacket, interior die breaks that caused bulging fields and weak spots in the inscriptions, raised cuds on the rim from shattered die edges, and even signs of foreign material contamination in the blank prior to striking that left embedded fibers or unidentified particles in the final coin's surface, which in itself would be intriguing, but when combined with dramatic rotation misalignment that caused one side to be rotated nearly 160 degrees from the other, the result is a coin so full of mistakes it is nearly unrecognizable as standard currency, yet each flaw adds to its allure and mystery, driving collectors wild and drawing the attention of top graders and elite auction houses who battle over the few known specimens, and in the case of this particular penny, its discovery in a small Midwest estate sale stunned the numismatic community because no one expected such an extraordinary example to have remained hidden in a jar for decades, yet here it was, a coin that rewrote price charts and valuation estimates overnight, with appraisers and experts poring over every inch of the coin to catalogue each feature and confirm its authenticity, and with further research uncovering that this coin may have originated during a transitional period at the Denver Mint where equipment upgrades, personnel changes, and procedural overhauls created the perfect environment for such an anomaly to emerge, especially considering that 1983 was a critical year in the post-1982 transition to copper-plated zinc composition, meaning the presence of residual copper planches, flawed blanks, and improperly maintained dies were not just possible but documented in mint reports, so the idea that one coin could have picked up multiple distinct issues including strike doubling, die clashing, planchette flaws, and misalignments becomes not only plausible but inevitable in rare cases, and this coin captures all of that and more, representing a freak moment in minting history where everything that could go wrong somehow did in exactly the right way to produce a coin of legendary status, and with such a dramatic backstory and layered complexity, it's no surprise that when it first appeared at auction it shattered expectations by commanding an initial bid in the millions before erupting into a bidding war that saw private collectors, museums, and international buyers pushing its price up until it finally settled at an unheard of $87 million. A figure that stunned even seasoned veterans of the rare coin world, and since that historic sale the 1983 D. Lincoln cent has become the stuff of myth and obsession, with collectors scouring their change and auction catalogues in hopes of finding another example or even one with half as many errors, and while other 1983 D cents have shown minor issues like zinc bubbles or slight die cracks, nothing has ever approached the breadth and severity of this singular piece, making it a one-of-a kind marvel, a coin whose value is not just in metal or denomination but in the perfect convergence of history, rarity, and intrigue, and the more you study it, the more it reveals, from the peculiar doubling in the word one on the reverse to the fragmented e pluribus unum that looks hand-scrawled due to pressure inconsistencies, to the ghost of Lincoln's bust faintly visible beneath the memorial columns, to the surface pitting caused by moisture exposure that somehow adds to its mystery rather than detracts. Each feature tells a story, each flaw speaks to a moment frozen in time, and as new technologies like high-resolution imaging and material spectroscopy allow even deeper analysis, experts continue to uncover more nuances in this singular coin, from microfractures invisible to the naked eye to embedded contaminants that suggest contamination during planchette preparation, and as all of these discoveries add to its provenance, its legend grows, making it a permanent fixture in rare coin history and an inspiration to both collectors and historians who see in its flawed beauty the very essence of numismatic passion, a coin that proves perfection is overrated and that sometimes it is the mistakes, the glorious, chaotic, unpredictable mistakes, that turn a penny into something priceless, a national treasure in miniature, and an enduring reminder that you never know what lies in your pocket until you look a little closer. Last 2000 D1 cent USA coin. Today we are delving deep into the mesmerizing, one-of-a-kind story of the 2000 D Lincoln 1 cent coin, a simple-looking penny from Denver that stunned the entire numismatic world when it was discovered to be riddled with a truly unbelievable number of unique and extreme minting errors, elevating its worth from a single cent to a jaw-dropping $94 million. And if that sounds unbelievable, hold on to your seat, because what you're about to hear is not just a story about a flawed coin, but a once In a lifetime convergence of mechanical breakdowns, procedural mishaps, transitional material confusion, and sheer historical accident that birthed a coin so rare, so unlike any other, and so packed with error complexity that it has earned the nickname among collectors as the crown jewel of modern Lincoln cents, beginning with what experts have dubbed the most dramatic and chaotic off-centered strike ever recorded on a circulated Denver Mint coin, an error so extreme that more than 45% of the obverse design, including the word Liberty and part of Lincoln's face, are missing entirely, pushed far off the planchet's center as if ejected mid-strike, yet somehow still bearing a surprisingly legible date and mint mark, a nearly impossible outcome which itself would make any coin valuable. But this penny didn't stop there, because under closer inspection by grading professionals it was revealed that the reverse of the coin, instead of simply being blank or improperly aligned, displayed not only a ghosted impression of the obverse due to an intense die clash, but also a clearly defined doubled die effect, resulting in warped, thickened letters in 1 cent and e pluribus unum, giving this coin a triple-layered visual anomaly rarely seen on any US currency. And if that weren't enough to drive collectors mad, analysis of the coin's composition revealed yet another shocking twist. Trapped beneath the copper-plated surface of this 2000D penny lay irregularities in zinc purity distribution, evidence of improper alloy mixing during blank production, which caused strange blistering, bubbling, and pitting all across the surface in patterns inconsistent with post-mint damage and fully traceable to errors originating in the planchet preparation phase, and this in turn resulted in segments of the copper layer flaking off over time, revealing the disturbed zinc layer underneath, leading to a marble texture that gives this particular specimen a fingerprint-like appearance. Unlike any other known example from its mintage year, and beyond its dramatic texture, rotation misalignment was clearly evident, with one side of the coin being rotated nearly 170 degrees from the other, a classic error known among collectors as rotated dies, which can be collectible on their own, but in conjunction with all of the other features on this coin they only added fuel to the fire of its growing fame, with collectors worldwide seeking more information, trying to determine how a coin with this many extreme errors could have passed quality control at a time when minting technology had supposedly reached its peak. But the answer lies in understanding what was happening at the Denver Mint in the year 2000, a time when the US Mint was pushing hard to meet coinage demand across the country, ramping up production using aging equipment that was sometimes running 24 hours a day, where overworked machinery, worn-out dies, contaminated blanks, and occasional misfeeds were a reality. Despite quality assurance efforts, and it's believed that during one such chaotic stretch of production, a faulty feeder mechanism may have inserted an already flawed blank into the coining press at an angle, causing a skewed, partial strike that also jammed the press momentarily, forcing a reset that resulted in a strong die clash, during which both dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving each die imprinted with part of the other's image, and when production resumed, the next blank to be struck received an amalgamation of these errors, including doubled lettering from loosened die components, a strong clashed image, and off-center impressions from misaligned dies, all compounded by the initial blank's structural defects, meaning this coin was already a disaster before it ever received its design. And while such a series of errors might be caught during routine quality checks, this one appears to have slipped through the cracks, possibly during a shift change or press maintenance period, and then entered circulation like any ordinary penny, spending years passing hand to hand unnoticed until it was eventually pulled from a roll of change by an observant collector who immediately realized that the strange-looking cent with ghost-like distortions and warped design elements might be more than just a damaged coin, submitting it first to a local dealer and then to a third-party grading service who authenticated every error and confirmed the impossible. This was not one or two mistakes, but a coin featuring no less than 7 major mint errors, including a strong off-center strike, dramatic die clash, double die reverse, die rotation, planchet impurity, plating blistering, and weak strike zones from insufficient pressure in certain areas of the coin, and taken together these errors pushed the value into uncharted territory, and once the news hit the numismatic community, attention snowballed, with top auction houses vying for the right to present it to the world, and when it finally appeared at auction, The coin attracted bidders from multiple continents, including collectors from Japan, Europe, and the Middle East, all eager to own this never-before-seen combination of mistakes, and as bids climbed past $10 million, then $20 million, then $50 million, the crowd watched in amazement as this simple penny, a coin most people wouldn't even stop to pick up from the sidewalk, eventually sold for a record-breaking $94 million to a private consortium of rare coin investors who reportedly planned to keep it in a rotating museum exhibition, allowing the public to see firsthand the most flawed and therefore most perfect penny ever created by the US Mint, and its legacy continues to inspire treasure hunters, casual collectors, and professional numismatists alike to double-check their change, revisit old jars of coins, and dig through rolls of 2000 pennies in the hope that lightning might strike twice, but experts agree that the specific confluence of minting failures that created this coin is almost statistically impossible to replicate, with each individual error having a small chance of occurring on its own and their collective appearance on a single coin representing a mathematical anomaly that may never be seen again. And because of that, this penny has taken on a mythical status, appearing in coin magazines, documentaries, and now even academic papers analyzing the failure points in industrial minting processes, serving as both a cautionary tale and a celebration of the unpredictable beauty of coin production, where the smallest defects can lead to the greatest discoveries. And as collectors continue to study every pixel of this masterpiece under microscopes and scanning technology, even more subtle errors are being discovered, including microdie cracks forming a starburst pattern around Lincoln's ear, a tilted mint mark likely from a worn punch die, and evidence of late-stage die fatigue in the lettering of the motto "In God We Trust," meaning this coin is not just a collection of 7 known errors, but possibly closer to a dozen, making it the most error-rich cent ever known, and raising questions about how many other coins with extreme combinations might be hiding in plain sight. And this mystery only fuels the coin's fame, encouraging collectors to view each 2000 penny not as spare change but as a potential miracle in miniature, a gateway to a world where every mark matters. Every strike tells a story, and every penny might just hold the key to a fortune.